I've done that before.
Yeah. Oh, good morning, everyone. We're back. Apparently, I forgot to do the countdown, but DMac is in California. I'm Rachel V. Hill. I'm back from vacation. Gone for 2 weeks, DMac, and I forget how to do my job. How are you, my friend?
I am so good, Rachel, and I love seeing your face. Are you drinking wine already?
It's cranberry juice.
Oh,
The
sure
dog
it
likes me
is.
best. What can I say?
Rachel, Hawaii, your engagement celebration, sort of honeymoon thing.
I've been telling everybody, I think I had the best June literally like ever because one, I got to witness my hometown team win an NBA championship, the first ever. Like I got to be there. I got to go to a parade. I then got engaged and did a 3-day weekend with like my family and friends up in Vail, which is of course beautiful. I come back to work for 2 days and I get to tell like all the people I love, like you and all the fans and everything about the engagement and everything's like so exciting. I then leave for Hawaii for a week. And then I come back and I still have like 6 days off because of the 4th of July. Like I had the best June ever. I don't know anyone that could beat it.
Well, give us some highlights about Hawaii. I'm dying to know. Like what was what?
It was so much fun. So we went to the Big Island, which like you said is very like chill vibes.
Yes.
First of all, the fastest speed limit in Kona is like 55 and people like barely hit 55. Like I'm pretty sure we barely got over 45, which is of course just like one of those most random things that you don't realize how fast we drive until you're forced to drive really, really slow. But it was beautiful. I've got some pictures here. I'll show some pictures. Yeah, of course.
Let's
of course
go. Oh my God.
So it was absolutely beautiful. The picture that you see in the middle, that is like the sunset and the sunrise that we woke up to every single morning. We were literally right next to the ocean. We saw some sea turtles, which was really cool. Blue skies, beautiful. The girl you see with me is my future sister-in-law. We did a luau one night, which was really fun. And then the 4 of us down in the picture below, we all went to Oahu for a day and we went swimming with sharks, which was really cool. I know. So cool. I have a video. I'll show that here in a little bit.
Wait. You went swimming with sharks.
So I wanted to do the
were the dolphins eaten? Were you went swimming with sharks?
I was swimming with sharks. Quite literally, yes. Here, I'll just show the video. It's really cool. So we were in a cage. They weren't willing to do the cageless. I'm like a little bit of a fear factor girl. Like I'm like, let me get my adrenaline pumping. But they were like, no, we just need to like stay and just do this cage one. So here it is. You can literally see, here's one little shark. Don't mind the camera, but I was like so in awe of these creatures. Look at them. And then all of a sudden you're just going to see a ton of them. Like they're literally everywhere and they are like giant puppy dogs, which is so cool. They just swim around and essentially are looking for food. Like they feed them like little fish scraps essentially. And I think that's what keeps them like around the area. But they would just like come up and be like a dog and be like, can I have some like food? Do you have any food? They were just so calm and peaceful. Wow. Nothing like you see a Shark Week or Jaws or anything like that. It was so fun.
That's good. So they're trained sharks.
Yep. Well, they're not trained sharks, but like they know where to go to get food because it's been dumping grounds for like years and years and years and years and years.
All right. So one day on Oahu, is that what you said?
Yes.
And was that in Honolulu?
So we went to the North Shore.
Oh, okay. Good decision. Yep. But there's nothing wrong with Honolulu. It's just a big city. You know, it's like a lot of big cities. I got a little bit of bad advice last time I was in Honolulu, and I was told, you don't need to rent a car. And we didn't, and I wish we did, because I would have loved to have gone to the North Shore and gotten away from Honolulu. So I think you made a really smart choice there. Although, there's touristy things there, but I love that. You went to the North Shore and you played around with a bunch of sharks. I mean, that sounds freaking awesome. And what is that? How do you fly back and forth? Like, how do you do that?
So it's just like an island hopper you buy. I think each ticket was like $40 or something like that.
That's it?
So cheap. Like we literally woke up and I think our flight left at 8 a.m. and we returned back home at like 4. Like it was super fast. Wow. It's like a 30-minute flight. It was so funny though, because we get there and it's like the 4 kids essentially. Like I was the oldest one there, and we're all like, well, do we really want to go with this Chevy Malibu or should we just upgrade for the Mustang? And so we upgraded for the Mustang, and it was just so much fun. And yeah, the lady gave us a great deal.
Wait a second, time out. Are you saying you're the only one old enough to rent a car?
Me and my fiance are the only ones old. Well, actually, his sister might be old enough now, but yeah, like we were all super young, and we're like, heck yeah, we want the Mustang instead of the Chevy Malibu. Like, whatever, let's do it.
Okay, so what? But most of the time on Kona, and on the Big Island, right?
Yep.
So what were the other activities there?
We went to the volcano, which was cool. We missed it. So it was active 2 days prior to us being there, which really sucked. So we just missed that. And then we just went to the beaches. We went to a black sand beach, which was where you saw the sea turtles on those pictures. We just kind of drove around the island, hung out in downtown Kona, just like chilled. We got sunburned really, really bad on day 1.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of Hell's Itch?
No, but I can imagine where that is.
Oh man. Okay. So my future brother-in-law it's so weird to like say those types of things. Got Hell's Itch because he got sunburned so bad. And it's literally like you cannot control your body. You have to get in the hottest shower possible to scorch your nerve endings in order to like make it stop. Like
Whoa.
literally, I have never seen somebody like you could just tell he was like in a frenzy, like scraping himself. So always, always, always apply sunscreen. And lesson learned, apply lotion and then the spray sunscreen afterwards. We stayed sunburn free. So yeah, but it was brutal, but we got burned.
Did you go to any exotic beaches in Hawaii?
No exotic beaches. No. But I think the Big Island, for anyone who's wanting to travel, it is a little bit different than I think what we were expecting. We were expecting more Oahu, where it's like the Jurassic Park feel. This is very much like lava rock. It's very rocky. There's these cute little goats that like run around on top of the rocks. But yeah, it's like when you first go in, you're like, oh, like expecting palm trees and all this. And it's like black rock, which is really cool if you think about it, because it's like thousands and thousands of years old or whatever. But it's just very rocky. So be prepared for that. Let us know in the comments if you've ever gone to Hawaii, because I'm curious.
I've been there twice.
Okay.
We went there for our honeymoon, and then we went on our 10-year anniversary. We did go to the Big Island for 3 days on our honeymoon, but Maui just has a little bit more of kind of like everything. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit more active, and we just really love Maui, but I'm nothing against the Big Island whatsoever. I like the Big Island more than I liked Honolulu, to be honest with you. But listen, it's Hawaii, Mm-hmm. You're gonna do all right, no matter what you do. And I mean, it's so gorgeous, so beautiful. How is the temperature? How is the weather?
It was like 75 to 80 degrees the entire time we were there.
So that can be tricky, right? Like, because it's not that hot, right? It's not like scorching hot, and you don't have the suntan lotion. I put on a cloudy day, I put on suntan lotion, but I mean, look at it. What choice do I have? What other fun things? What was the other most fun thing that you can talk about?
We like went snorkeling, which was really cool. The place we went, I think it was like Captain Cook's something. I think that's what it was called. But literally it was like the reef, and it just dropped off into the ocean.
Whoa.
Like all of a sudden you're looking at like all this beautiful coral and all these fish, and then you're like, oh, there goes the deep ocean, which was really cool. We swam with a sea turtle one day, which was cool. He had like on one of the white sand beaches, he had swam up accidentally. And so it was cool to be like right next to him and see him. But yeah, overall, it was just fun. It was such a good vacation, like much needed. As much as I enjoy my job, and don't get me wrong, I do, DMac, I know you'll feel this. It's a lot of hours. Like really, you kind of feel like you're always working because there's always popping up. So it's nice to just disconnect, be able to hang out for a little bit. Now I'm like ready for training camp. I'm like, all right, like let's get this thing rolling. But first, how's California? I need you to update us on what you're up to, because you're still there. You're still on vacation.
I am. I'm still in the same place I was as of June 22nd on my birthday, the day we both left.
Yep.
And we did not run into each other at the airport. You were running a little bit late.
Did you just say your birthday?
My birthday was June 22nd, the day I left. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What?
I was texting you. You didn't say a single thing.
Oh, I know. We don't, that's all right. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Listen, I'm slightly offended, so be expecting a surprise in your
I was in and I'm definitely gonna shave when I get back, but there's no doubt
You're trying to grow the James Merrillat beard.
Yeah, this is just vacation laziness. It's not a look, but it's just I'm in my deep Ernest Hemingway writing, cloudy day sweatshirt stage right now. But there's this the town I'm in is really really interesting, Pacifica, California, because it gets a lot of clouds, haze. The sun rarely comes out. There's a couple of really big hiking trails near here that get your heart going. I'm gonna go on a little hike later today. But it's super close. But it's just good enough. You don't have to kill yourself, but you'll be sweating at the end. It feels like you've done something. So every morning I get up, I can hear the ocean right now outside of the little Airbnb I have. But it's not the tropical ocean you were at. I mean, this is more like, rough and tumble sea waves crashing on the ocean, and everybody is all, look at what I'm wearing. It's all like this all the time. There is a big pier where everybody crab fishes. So you have crab snares and it's super smelly. So there's nothing romantic about this place whatsoever, except that it is like a place where you can just sort of just decompress. And, every goal I've had on this vacation is just to take it down. Now I have ulterior motives as well, because my son, my 20-year-old, who will be playing college baseball in St. Louis in the fall, is playing summer college baseball out here in California he only has 3 weeks left actually. And so this has been really awesome for me, Rachel, because of what I do with working afternoons on the radio, and because of the pandemic, and he was a 2020 senior, high school senior. And then he had the world's worst coaches at University of Northern Colorado who are all fired. And then he had another world's worst coach at West Valley College. I haven't really gone on the air and talked about how terrible this guy was. I feel better now because he's done with them. I mean, what a nightmare that guy was, who actually went to high school with Nate Jackson, which is crazy. But that was for, and again, I really haven't talked about this because I didn't want to get in his way, and thank God it's in his past. And he's going to, I guess I can say it because he announced it, Webster University or college, but it's the same exact school where Drew Goodman's son, Zach, plays at. And we have a couple of other friends from Colorado that actually played there. JT Miller, say hey to. But yeah, so my son and Drew Goodman's son are going to be on the same team starting in the fall. And I'm proud of both of them. They actually played 1 year on the Lumberjacks in Colorado together, which is a Colorado college summer baseball team. So, and Drew's such a good dad, and Zach is such an amazing kid. So the coach has been awesome so far, a lot of good communication, and I'm excited for my son to go to St. Louis. But my point was, Rachel, as big of a baseball guy as I am, which is huge, this is my organization, Flash Baseball, which I ran for years, and hope to get back into. I haven't seen him play a lot of baseball over the past 4 years. I really haven't, because he plays in the spring in high school when I'm on the air, the pandemic, the terrible coaches at UNC, and then, the nightmare at West Valley. This is the most I've seen my son play college baseball in like 4 years. And the coach has been freaking awesome. My son's been doing well. He's playing a ton. It's good high-level college competition in the summer. And it's just laid-back baseball. You know what's crazy too, Rachel? The way these kids play, if you just came across one of their games, you would think it's a minor league baseball game. The skill level is high. The fields they play at are really cool. These are really highly skilled. They're like 19 to 22-year-old kids playing baseball. So it really does look like you would think a minor league baseball game would look at. And the pace is fast. He played one game in an hour 48, a 9-inning game. It was a 1-0 game, but it was a 9-inning game in an hour and 48 minutes. And then they had 2 doubleheaders, 7-inning doubleheaders. The first doubleheader wrapped up in an hour 38. So when you see baseball played well, quickly, without all the BS of all that other stuff, it goes great. So I've really, really enjoyed watching them play. We did go to the Oakland A's game because I've just never been to that crap hole stadium in Oakland. And, now I've been there. And I got to say, finding a team worse than the Rockies is a trick, Rachel. That's not easy to find.
Yeah.
But it was, I got to tell you, the stadium is awful.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans of the A's that were there, listen, first of all, it wasn't even close to sold out, and it was July 2nd. So James Merilatt would be in heaven because people are staying away. So they are making a statement. However, those that are there, Rachel, they just love the team, and they love the history of the team. And the A's actually have a rich history, Rachel. I mean, there's multiple world championships and multiple Hall of Famers. I mean, it's not like the Oakland A's have a bad history, just the opposite. They've got kind of a long, legendary history. It's not like the Rockies. It goes way further back than the Rockies. So the Rockies only go to the 90s. The Oakland A's go back, I think, golly, Rachel, I want to say maybe to the 50s, something like that. Maybe even longer than that in Oakland. So, and they came from Philadelphia a million years ago. So the history with the A's is such that I just want to give props to the fans that actually go and support them. And it's not many. I mean, it was one of the emptiest ballparks I've ever seen, but we were thoroughly entertained. Of course, they lost, but they lost by 1 run to the Chicago White Sox. We had great seats. It was very hot. I've had this very strange vacation because if you go a half hour inland, I'm right on the water, but if you go a half hour inland, the temperature goes up 25 to 30 degrees. I mean, it's crazy.
Wow.
So you go, it's just, I can't explain it, you know? So we've had a wonderful time, and I got a couple more days here. And guess what? Tomorrow, Rachel, the Giants host the Rockies. So here's what's going to be funny. I think I'm going to go to my first Rockies game of the year in San Francisco.
Nice.
So for whatever reason, I'm actually kind of excited about seeing the Rockies here in Northern California, where I have not gone. I'm not the problem, James Merilatt. I haven't gone to one Rockies game all year. And I'm not protesting. I'm not like James. I just haven't made it down there. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you mentioned, the Nuggets were busy and now we're on vacation, and you know, it just hasn't come around. But tomorrow night, now I gotta ask a question.
Okay.
How should I handle this? My son's girlfriend, who's beautiful and wonderful, I love Raina, she's going to the Giants game with like 4 of her girlfriends. My son has a baseball game at 4:00, but the game itself is until 7. I told you we're only 15 minutes away from downtown San Francisco, and I told you the baseball games are short. Is it creepy if I go with my son to the Giants Rockies game and we meet up with his girlfriend and her friends?
No, I don't think that's creepy. I thought you were going to ask me if you went by yourself and met up with them. That would be creepy.
Oh my God. Oh, that is ridiculously creepy.
But no, I think you totally go. I think with your son, that's totally fine. I think you're going to be kind of chilling by yourself, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, but do I meet up or do I just say, hey, it's good enough that we're at the game together, son, and, you know, whatever, and, you know.
I think you leave that up to him. If he and they communicate and they're like, yeah, come sit by us, like, let's hang out, yada, yada, then you can do that. Otherwise, I just say chill and hang out with your son, enjoy a lemonade or another beverage of your choice, and just enjoy the game.
There is a functional purpose for me being there because I could buy them lemonade.
Oh, not 21, huh?
No.
You're in college.
No, you don't have to.
College,
Rachel, you don't have to be 21 to drink lemonade.
That's true. That's a very, very good point. Well, maybe they
will
want to hang out with them.
When you're drinking lemonade and you took the train to get there, I mean, you know, you're perfectly fine having. You know what? As I'm talking about this is super creepy. I don't know.
I say,
you know, here's the irony. I saw that the Rockies were playing there tomorrow night, and I was just like, oh, that would be kind of cool to go to, right? Like, you know, one little final thing before I leave this vacation. I had no idea that his girlfriend and her girlfriends were going to the game.
Okay. Well, we're getting lots of recommendations. So real quick, before you leave, so grab some, let's see, good lumpia and Dole Whip at the lumpia stand cart section 117.
Oh, okay. That's a bit. I go to the Giants game, I guess.
Yeah. So you need to do that. Section 117. Can somebody let me know what lumpia is?
You know what I was trying to do when I went to the A's game?
Mm-hmm.
Not get stabbed. No, that's terrible. Let me tell you, that's terrible. I didn't feel unsafe at all. It was fine. But it is wild to go to a Major League Baseball park with zero charm. I mean, zero charm, because it's the old Raiders, stadium there. It's the black hole and all that sort of stuff. Once you get inside, the field's beautiful and nice and all that, but you just walked around. I mean, it has no charm. Like zero charm, which is so different than all these ballparks.
Okay, one more. It said, watch out for seagulls. Bleacher seats and alleyway is a good spot. Check out the garden area, too, in the outfield. And then also, I saw one about a Taco Bell, and I think we need to get you over there.
Taco Bell?
Did you go to the famous Taco Bell cantina? Hop over Skyline Boulevard and get some food in downtown South San Francisco.
I beat you to all that. I'm not going to a Taco Bell. I don't care how famous the Taco Bell is.
If this is a really famous Taco Bell canteen, I feel like you have to go.
I'm not going to the famous Taco Bell. No, Rach, you got to understand something about me. When I go on I don't go to corporate anything. But there's no corporate. I go to enough suburban corporate crap. I don't go. We were over dropping my wife off, and we went to Kramer's Bagels, which was a Vietnamese coffee bagel shop. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is great. 2 doors down was a Starbucks. And my spoiled brat son goes, well, I'm going to get my drink at the Starbucks. And I go, you don't want to try the Vietnamese coffee bagels thing here at Kramer's? And no. So he went and got his corporate, latte, smooth milk, whatever it was. But I enjoyed the Vietnamese coffee. I thought it was fantastic.
Okay, so real quick, Jake just updated me on the lumpia thingy. It's a thin paper rolled pastry, normally with meat from the Philippines. You should definitely try it.
And where would I get out of the Giants game?
Giants game, section 117. I expect to post tomorrow. Real quick though, fill your kids in, or fill the fans in on what your son plays, like what position he plays. While we will bring.
He's a middle infielder, primarily a shortstop, but he plays a lot of second base too. And he'll be giving that a whirl out at Webster, and that's what he's been playing all summer.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, here was a hit from him. Man, you could actually hear, I took off the sound, obviously, that way you could hear DMac and I speak, but it was a freaking bomb that he got tossed to him. Good morning, Will Peterson. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm great. I will hit up Taco Bell. Big Taco Bell guy over here.
That's what I say. It's like a popular one?
No, when you're on vacation, in my opinion, you should support the local businesses and local business people. Not that local people don't work at the Taco Bell. I get it. But I just think there's something better about – listen, I'm staying in the town. Here's what's great. I don't have a choice where I'm staying if I want to walk to it. There's no corporate whatever anywhere where I can walk to. So no matter what I want to do or go or do, it is some sort of local sort of business. I mean, and it's a fascinating town to be in. It's not a tourist place. Definitely not. 1,000% not. But I've had a damn good time, and I'd come back here in a heartbeat. But I'm a sad, lonely, semi-depressed person. So, this place makes sense for me.
All right. Well, we'll get on to the Broncos. And obviously, I also want to talk about the Avalanche. I didn't touch my phone. I didn't look at Twitter. Also, are we jumping on this whole Threads IG train, everybody? Because I feel like everybody is talking about it. So are we jumping on it, Will Peterson?
Yeah, I signed up last night. I love Twitter. I'm used to Twitter. I love the interface of Twitter. I obviously have more followers on Twitter. But there have been some things, particularly when you were gone, Rachel, where he limited us all to seeing only 600 tweets a day, and I was blowing through that in an hour. I was hitting my rate limit, and Twitter was broken for me the rest of the day. So I want to stay on Twitter, but I'm also realistic that I'm not going to pay $9 a month for it. And if crap like that's going to happen, then you can catch me over on Threads.
Yeah, we got one comment. Please get on Threads. DMac, do you know what Threads is?
I've heard about it. I guess I'm the sucker, but I'm a sucker for a lot of stupid things. Like I have Fubo I have no idea how many subscriptions I pay for. I've got Amazon Prime accounts that I can't account for. I just pay for this crap, so I understand what you're saying, Will, and I support your stand. Power to the people.
Will's also going to baseball games, though. Will, didn't I see a picture of you at a Rockies game?
Yeah, I went to a Rockies Angels game. Hit up the party deck. Part of the problem. Yep.
Part of the problem. See, if this is funny because if I go to the Rockies game against the Giants in San Francisco, I'm not part of the problem.
No, you're not supporting. Yeah, you're not supporting the Rockies ownership by paying a few bucks out there.
So I can root for the Rockies and not be part of the problem.
There you go. There you go. I actually watched real quick. I watched Shohei and Trout go back to back from the party deck. That's pretty cool. Two of the 10 best players in baseball going back to back at Coors Field. That was an interesting night for sure.
I'm sure. Were you drinking lots of lemonade too, Will?
Sure.
Maybe you missed that conversation on the back end. DMac's going to be supplying lemonade to his.
All right, now that feels super. So stop it. That officially, now that you put it like that, I'm not doing that. That feels way too creepy. Okay, I'm creeped out by that.
Okay,
what I'm going to do? Go to the game with my son, and I'm going to say, "Have fun, son," and I'll just sit there by myself. Maybe I'll go see Drew Goodman. I'll go see the AT&T Sports Crew. I'll just knock on the door. Hey, let me in. Stout, what's up, dude? What's up, Spilly? I'll be like that.
There you go. Training camp, little more than 3 weeks away. I don't know about you guys, but when I saw the training camp schedule, I was kind of like, this is a very odd schedule. Was I the only one, or was I last year? I feel like it was more of just a grind. I feel like they have more off days this year. And I know they obviously have Sundays off and stuff, but it feels like there's a 5-day stretch where there's nothing going on.
Well, there's training camp for the public, and then there's training camp. So what you're seeing is not all the training camp practices are open, but 12 are, and 12 is a lot compared to a lot of other teams. It's just not all of training camp.
Gotcha. I was really confused when I saw that. Will, is there anything else that people need to know about the Broncos? Did I miss anything that I'm like, oh yeah, I need to make sure I check this off on my daily to-do list?
Well, no one got arrested, so that's good. We're halfway in between mandatory minicamp and training camp, no arrests. But Rachel, the big news while you were out of town was the capacity and the tickets. Those have been making the headlines at camp. Only 3,000 fans allowed every single day, and you have to get a ticket to get in the door. The tickets for the weekend practices sold out, got given out within an hour. So the question is, are those now going to pop up on the secondary market? And as someone who, was working a manual labor job, couldn't get to their computer in that first hour, who really wants to go on a Saturday, are they now going to have to pay 10, 15, 20 bucks to get in? And the spontaneous factor is gone too. Fans can't just show up anymore because it's a 72-degree Tuesday morning. They're like, oh, we don't have to go sit in a 95-degree hot day. Let's go down to Centura Health Training Center. Nope. They will not let you in without a ticket. You have to pick your day 6 weeks in advance. I feel like I'm getting hit up by my dentist. Like, hey, what are you doing 6 months from now? Can you come back in for your next cleaning? It's like, I have no idea. Fans don't know what they're doing 6 weeks from now, especially ones with young kids. Training camp was a spontaneous thing. And now it's been capped at 3,000. Remember, they had over 7,100 one day last year. And you need a ticket to get in. That was making all the headlines while you were out of town.
We are about to see the lowest attended Broncos training camp of all time.
Yeah.
It'll be the lowest attended. I did some digging on this behind the scenes, and Will and Rachel, I think if a family of 4 shows up and doesn't have a ticket, I think there's probably a way that, they're going to be allowed in, I think.
Okay.
But I think that's a bad plan. And if there's 500 people like that, I think they'll all be turned away. So I think if it's just, so my advice, if you don't have a ticket for whatever it's worth, is I just show up a little later and beg ignorance and just be like, I don't know, but don't get there early, because the earlier you're there, the easier. I can't believe I'm giving advice on how to get into a training camp practice. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I've been told that and I asked the very specific question about tickets on the secondary market being sold. And I was told they're not concerned about that. They don't think that's going to be an issue.
Wait. People got free tickets, and now they're selling them to
no, we don't. That hasn't happened yet. Not that I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're sold out. So those things will pop up for $10 to $15 because what happened at the Ball Arena watch parties for the Nuggets?
True.
They sold out and then they popped up for another, 400% markup or whatever for those road games against the Heat. Like if you want to go to Saturday, July 28th or Friday the 28th, Saturday the 29th, whatever. If you want to go, you can't anymore. Those tickets were gone within an hour. So how else are you going to get in? You're either going to DMac bag your way in or you're going to pay on the secondary market.
DMac,
back in the day when I was a much younger fella, I would just walk into movie theaters backwards and, I would get in for free. I know that sounds insane, but back in the day, if you just walked in backwards, they wouldn't know what to make of it. And I found that you could get into movies for free. So that probably won't work. But I did actually used to do that in the 90s. Walk into movie theaters backwards.
Did they think you were a construction worker or something?
It was so confusing. Like, why are you walking backwards? And do you already have a ticket? And by the time the 16-year-old ticket taker is trying to process that information, I'm already in.
Yeah. That's the thing is you slowly start to realize you're like, these people don't get paid enough to care. Like, they're just like, okay, well, whatever. Go for it. Go into a half.
They don't care what they're going to do. And it's like, hello, Meg Ryan. Make me laugh for an hour and a half.
True. I feel like one of the big things, though, that I missed is there was a lot of Avalanche, though, news, Will. So, like, what's going on? So, EJ, Evan Rodriguez, Jack Johnson, Johnson's staying, right? Yep, he's staying. The other two are gone. Who else is staying, and what did I miss?
Well, Helm's retiring. Cogliano is re-signing. And the biggest move of free agency was Bowen Byram is re-signing. Now, Bowen Byram only got a 2-year deal. So that tells you all you need to know. They gave Miles Wood 6 years from the Devils. He's a new addition. We can talk about him a little bit. And they only gave Byram 2 years. It's like, that's a little message to Bo. You better start playing in more than half the games, dude, because we can't give you a 4, 5, 6 year deal until we trust you. So Bo back on a 2-year deal, Cogs back, Jack Johnson back, Miles Wood is in, Jonathan Drouin is in, Lars Eller's out, Dennis Morgan's out, Evan Rodriguez is out, Eric Johnson's out, Nieto's out, JT Comfort got paid an obscene amount of money by the Detroit Red Wings. Good for him. But he's gone. Alex Newhook's out. He got traded. They used one of those draft picks to flip it into Wood, I believe, DMac. I don't know. It just goes to show you guys that outside of Mikko, Nathan, Kale, Gabe, Val, Arturi, and Georgiev, they were kind of up for any sort of roster turnover. And it's a very different team today than it was in Game 7 against the Kraken.
It also goes to show you how thin they really were. And when they like Jack Johnson, okay, I did not expect that. Eric Johnson, not retiring, guys. He's going to go play for the Buffalo Sabres. So, wow. So even guys, guys you were really counting on, they're telling you, well, we don't value them that much, and they still have value other places. The JT Compher one, they just weren't going to pay him that kind of money. So best of luck to JT with the Red Wings. That one hurt my soul a little bit. It just, I could see it coming. It just kind of stings. JT was just one of those guys. He wasn't just an add-on. He was one of our guys. Mm-hmm. I felt at least. So best of luck to him. But this is a
second-tier guy.
What's that?
He was like the second-tier guy.
I like JT Compher quite a bit. So whatever.
Let's talk about JT Compher being a healthy scratch during the Cup run, and he just got $25 million. So you may have liked him last year, but for a team that was winning the Cup, he was not really a part of that at all.
I just have always felt JT Compher's just, I don't know how else to say it. He's just been one of the Avs guys in this run. He's just been one of the heart and soul sort of dudes. He's been the best face-off man. He's been a good special teams player. Listen, I'm not saying he's as valuable as McKinnon or Renton or anything like that. You just grow attached to guys. What can I tell you?
And that's fine. But as a hockey player, JT Compher was like the 18th best player on the team that won the Stanley Cup.
Wow.
Let's keep that in perspective.
Wow. Okay. All right, man. Harsh. So you're not a JT Compher fan at all, obviously.
No, I'm not a JT Compher guy at all. And I don't need to run through the 17 that were better, but I probably could come up with 17 that were more valuable to the Cup run than Compher. So I just think the Red Wings fans are going to be really disappointed. Because when you pay a guy that kind of money, you expect 30 goals, right? Enjoy his 12 goals next year. Enjoy his dozen goals for the $5 million.
What? How many goals did he have this year, Will?
Because he got to play with some of the best players in the world on the second line.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're going to ignore how many goals he had this year.
You don't think what happened to Kadri is going to happen to Compher? You don't think fans are going to see that contract and expect big things and then –
Hey, I did not realize we were on the scrappy Will Peterson I hate JT Compher train. But choo-choo. I guess. All right. I mean, cool. I'm just trying to say something nice about the dearly departed. But, yeah.
I'll say something nice about Eric Johnson. If you want me to start throwing flowers at Eric Johnson, I'll gladly do that.
No, it's okay. Listen, I understand where you're coming from. I don't feel quite the same venom, but I get they're moving on. And I think that the bigger point is this is a brand new team. However, I told you so. I told everybody so. They love Sam Girard, okay?
Yeah, you did.
I'm just telling you, and I've said it for 2 straight years, these guys love Sam Girard. And everybody and their brother talking about dumping on somebody and wanting to get somebody out of town. Nobody has got more slings and arrows than Sam Girard. They love him, and they just proved it again because they didn't package him, they didn't trade him, they kept him. He's one of their core guys, according to them. So get used to it because he's not going anywhere.
For both of you, what was the most surprising move that you saw the Avalanche do?
Well, it was not even offering EJ a deal. It was telling EJ, thank you, but no thank you. We're done. We're moving on. I mean, longest tenured athlete in Denver sports. Obviously, that means he's the longest tenured Av. A key veteran guy on the Cup run 2 years ago. But a guy, remember, guys, they wanted to make him a healthy scratch in the playoffs. And Jack Johnson got hurt in pregame warmups of game 1. And it was super fluky and weird. So that kind of showed you what they thought of EJ. But, man, loyalty, we know it doesn't go too far in pro sports. But they wouldn't even offer EJ a vet minimum to come back here. I think he probably would have taken that. He took out the classy thank you ad. He made it very clear he wanted to stay. He made it clear Denver's home for him. And the Avalanche said, you're not good enough to play on our hockey team anymore. And I thought that was pretty harsh.
What Will is referencing is one of the quirky moments of the postseason this past year because Jared Bednar was asked about, the fact that they were going to scratch Eric Johnson. And he goes, how did you know that? And we held up a piece of paper that the Avalanche put out that had him as a scratch. Well, we know it, Coach, because you told us so. Yeah. But he didn't realize that had happened. And Eric Johnson was like, oh, I was playing all along. I'm like, I got a piece of paper here that says you're not playing that they gave me 10 minutes before the game. So, it's a good recall by you, Will. That's a great recall. And that's we should have known, right? I was surprised by that too. The thing that surprised me, I guess, the most, I guess none of it really, I suppose. None of it surprises me. I didn't think they were going to offer JT Compher a big deal, and they didn't. I knew they loved Sam Girard. I guess I'm surprised Eric Johnson isn't just retiring because he had to be talked back into hockey 2 years ago. But the dude still wants to play, and he got a chunk of change from Buffalo. I think he'll call Denver his home. I think he'll be one of those guys. He's like a bachelor, too. He's like a bachelor in his 30s. So what does he care? He'll just go wherever. He probably has like a hockey duffel bag, and that's about it for his entire life. And he'll go to Buffalo and have a fine time living on the water on Lake Erie there. There's some really nice luxury apartments right near the arena, right near the pier, which you can, gug lemonade out on the pier in the summertime there in Buffalo. And, he'll be with the Sabres. I just think the thought we've had these conversations about the team to repeat and win championships again. Guys, it's clearly the Nuggets. I mean, by a mile. We have no idea how this Avalanche team is going to be. None. And whatever they did 2 years ago, They're bringing back some of the best players in the world. They are. But you just don't know how they're going to be. And they just told you as an organization, Joe Sakic and Chris McFarland just told you how bad this team actually was last year.
True. No, that's a really good point. Actually, we're going to do 2 grades real quick. I want to get your grade so far from McFarland since he's taken over. What would you give him on the moves that they made? And then obviously stuff that happened last year. Will?
D+, C-. I mean, the team under Sakic was built masterfully. And the day they made that transition of power, moving Sakic even further up the ladder and McFarland in the day-to-day, they've made questionable decisions, starting, of course, with paying Nichushkin over Kadri and then not doing anything at all about Gabriel Landeskog at the deadline, not using it for any salary cap relief, and then all of a sudden he's out for all last year and all next year. And then, guys, McFarland didn't do anything in the last 10 days that shook up the NHL world. We didn't have Patrick Kane signing in Denver. We didn't have a trade for Sidney Crosby. Jonathan Drouin and Ross Colton. Is it Ross Wood or Ross Colton? See, now I'm getting confused.
Colton.
Ross Colton and Miles Wood. See? Miles Wood, Ross Colton, Jonathan Drouin. Guys, there's a reason I'm struggling to get through those 3 additions because none of those 3 are household names. So, yeah, I mean, McFarland's like me and, AP Calc, like C-, D+.
At least you had the bravery to take that class. I'll see you later on that one. I give him a C, Rachel. It just wasn't good enough. It left the Avalanche way too small in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That was their biggest problem. They just weren't physical enough. Look at the players they brought in. I mean, that tells you something too. They're all bigger dudes, all of them. And okay, I get it. And Lars Eller got another job someplace because, whatever. And Evan Rodriguez was, I don't know, meh at best. Georgiev was a good pickup. Looks like they got that one right, instead of Darcy Kemper. But that's, that's a tricky deal too because Darcy was good enough to win a Stanley Cup, right? But they got that right. I'll give that to them. They just misfired too many times, and they were unfortunately, I hate to say this, they were way too loyal to Gabriel Landeskog if they were serious about repeating. They really put themselves in a bad spot because of holding out hope for Gabe. Really super tough decision, but they should have just put him on LTIR at the beginning of the season and, use that money more effectively last year. They were hoping he would come back. It shows you how bad this injury actually is because they were hopeful that he'd be back around Christmas time. And not only did he miss all of last year, he'll miss all of this year. And I'll be shocked if he comes back at all, frankly. I think, sadly, it's probably a career-ending injury. It's a bummer, but they kind of blew it, guys. I don't know how else to say it. And they blew it because they made an emotional decision instead of a more logical decision. So there you go.
Real quick, a second grade, the draft. Who was like the top name that I need to know that came out of the draft that you guys are really excited to see?
None. Don't worry about it. 0.
Yeah, I mean, when you pick that late in the NHL draft, it's not the NBA or the NFL. We're not going to see these kids for a couple years. Defenseman out of Russia and a forward who hurt his shoulder. Again, they won't be on the Colorado Avalanche this season, so we wish them well. But if they're on the Oscar Olausson track, do I have that right, DMac?
Yeah.
Then we'll see him in 2025.
The Avs have actually done something a little sneakier that probably does deserve a little of attention. They've signed undrafted college free agents, and that's where you got Ben Myers from. So there's a better likelihood, and there's a couple of others. The names are escaping me off the top of my tongue, but I know Ben Myers, and Ben Myers is going to be one of their core players. He's going to be a regular winger or center. We'll see what role he has. He's a bottom 6 guy, but he'll be a regular player for them this year. So the undrafted college guys are a little bit older, a little bit more experienced. They're a little bit more interesting than the draft picks right now. And like Will said, they did hold on to their draft picks, though. I thought they were going to do something else, but they did draft, what was it, 27 and 37, something like that? They did use those draft picks.
31, yeah.
Okay, so, but again, you can't, it's nothing, Rach. It's not like the Nuggets. The Nuggets draft picks we can talk about and get excited about. But these draft picks, I seriously, unless we want to preview something for 4 years down the line, I seriously wouldn't worry about it.
All right. Well, Will Peterson, as always, appreciate you hanging out with us. We will talk a little bit about the Nuggets, and we will bring in Jake Shapiro. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. I think me and you have had equally as fun Junes and Julys.
Right? I can't complain. I'm like, all right. But your July is going to get even better, obviously, because you're about to peace out and say goodbye to all of us to go get married.
Yeah, I need that to happen. We're in the time of the wedding prep now where it's like, just this needs to end. This needs to end.
I just started it and I'm already over it. I'm like, you know what? This was really nice and lovely, but I'm already over the whole
Rachel, do we have a date?
No, because there's 0 venues. There's no venues. And if they are available, they're like $70,000. And I refuse to pay $70,000 to get married. So
if you need a good venue in New Mexico, I got you.
I'll call you up for it.
And Jake, what's your date?
My date is July 22nd of this year.
So exciting. What day do you
have a honeymoon, Jake, or no honeymoon?
Well, we have a real honeymoon next year. We're going to France for the Olympics.
Wow.
And we're going to see the Belgian Grand Prix and the Tour de France.
Oh.
This year, we're driving to Albuquerque a couple days before the wedding, and then we have to drive back. So we're making a small trip out of it. We're stopping at a couple of mountain towns in Colorado. Just a nice little summer trip, escape the heat. It is a honeymoon, so to speak, but it's a little bit, it's just going to be toned down, me and her relaxing.
Love it. That's what we all need right now. Okay, Jake, give it to me. All the details. I know Bruce Brown got paid way more than I think a lot of us were expecting. Huge shout out to him. Congratulations to him. What else is going on with the Nuggets besides Summer League? Obviously rolling on.
Yeah, they actually made 2 moves yesterday, which were kind of interesting. They signed both of their second-round picks to current deals. They're not two-way contracts. They're full roster spots. So both Jalen Pickett and Hunter Tyson are on the roster. The Nuggets now have 15 players on their roster. That means that there is not going to be another move left for the Nuggets to make unless it's a trade. Today is July 6th. They have 12 hours pretty much to make a trade with about $9 million they have left over from the Monte Morris trade, which happened a year ago today. Otherwise, it expires. So if there's a trade coming in the Nuggets offseason, it will happen within the next 10 hours. I do not expect that to happen. I expect the Nuggets to roll into the season with a very similar roster to the one they have right now today. The only things that are going to change is what are their two-way guys. Those two-way guys that you might be thinking about last year, they were Colin Gillespie and Jack White. Gillespie would have played had he not broken his leg. He broke his leg. He's a two-way guy again this year. He will play. In the past, Monte Morris and Torrey Craig have been two-way guys. So the Nuggets have used these spots. In the new collective bargaining agreement, which went into place 6 days ago, there are 3 two-way slots. The Nuggets only have 1 filled in with Colin Gillespie, so they're going to be looking for 2 two-way guys over the course of Summer League here over the next week. So what were the Nuggets' big additions? They added old Justin Holiday. Justin is actually a really solid player. He should add, 12 to 15 minutes a night in the rotation, kind of play a very similar role to Jeff Green, just be a bit smaller. He'll add some depth on the wing alongside Christian Brown, Michael Porter Jr., Peyton Watson. Really, guys, if the Nuggets are going to repeat, it's really this simple. Michael Porter Jr. is going to need to take a step. Peyton Watson's going to need to find a way into the rotation. Christian Brown's going to need to get even better. And the starting 5 is going to need to stay healthy. It's that simple. And that they're going to need to find Zeke Naji to be the backup center and not it be DeAndre Jordan. So that's what the Nuggets did. I'm surprised they lost Jeff Green. I'm surprised Bruce Brown got that much money. Ish Smith is on the way out. Reggie Jackson got paid a lot. And that's definitely something we could discuss. And yeah, that's where they're at.
Wait. Yeah. What's the Reggie Jackson deal?
Well, so essentially the Nuggets had an ability to offer anybody in the NBA about $6 million, $5 to $6 million. And they could have offered them the same deal Bruce Brown got last year. So $5 million for the first year, and then a player option in the second year. So it gives them $10 million guaranteed. Instead of giving Reggie Jackson the minimum, which would have been about $2.5 million, and bringing him back on that, the Nuggets used their one free agent chip to pay Reggie Jackson over $5 million a year. So they tied themselves to Reggie Jackson being the Bruce Brown replacement and being the backup guard that they're going to rely upon for the 82-game regular season. Now, there were some definite candidates that I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago that I liked. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he ended up getting paid by the Minnesota Timberwolves less. There were some options there that I liked more than Reggie Jackson, and that also assumes that the Nuggets would have brought Reggie Jackson back on a vet minimum. But when guys like Jeff Green are getting paid $6 million a year and NBA teams are paying for Reggie Bullock to be on their team $12 million a year because they need to fill out their cap space because there's now a minimum salary cap you have to hit in the NBA. Otherwise, you get penalized. I don't know how realistic it was that the Nuggets were going to be able to get one of these guys that was a real deal contributor at about $5 million a year. So that was a really interesting move.
Okay. DMac?
Well, I was really surprised about Jeff Green. I thought he was for sure going to come back. And
do we think it was Jeff Green wanted to leave, or do we think the Nuggets didn't want to keep Jeff Green? I'm assuming the second one, but I just want to double
check. They wanted to keep him, but not at the money that he got. I mean, Jeff Green making $6 million per or for his year. And I, Jeff Green, obviously, because of where he went to Houston, he just wants to cash in. And I don't blame him. He got his ring. Way to go, Jeff Green, man. He was a great guy for a couple years for them, but like that one kind of stung. He was a pretty important player for them. So they just got to find somebody to fill that role. The Bruce Brown role, man, I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, Reggie Jackson, that surprised me too. Bruce Brown getting paid $22 million a year for 2 years freaking surprised me. Okay. Guys, 22. I feel like a fool that we ever considered him coming back to the Nuggets. We thought he was going to have a decision between like $7.8 million and $12 million. Yeah. $44 million. Come on, guys. That's not even a decision. That is not even worth discussing. And I actually had somebody say, "Hey, do you think he'll be a starter?" I'm like, "Yeah." Wait, you think he's coming off the bench at $22 million?
Well, you look at that team. It's Halliburton, Hield. I'm forgetting their small forward, and then there's a good chance that he might actually be the sixth man for them, but it's either him or Hield will come off the bench. So maybe.
You can't pay a guy $22 million and then come off the bench.
I'm telling you, the whole NBA just changed with this new collective bargaining agreement.
All right. Well, I don't know even what kind of world we live in now if you get paid $22 million to come off the bench, but that certainly wasn't going to happen with the Nuggets. So Jake is right. You're just going to have other guys step up. But I'm not afraid of that. I got to tell you, I am so impressed. I am curious about Jamal Murray. I could not believe he was back in the lab working out with the summer guys. I was shocked by that. We're 2 weeks away from the parade. It's not that he's back in the gym. That doesn't surprise me. But he's back in the Nuggets gym. He's working out with the Nuggets. He's back here. That blew me away.
Leadership qualities, A+. You love to see it, Jake.
Yeah, and Jokic has also hit the court again. I don't know if you guys saw the picture.
That was great. That you should talk about that. That's
They'll be on denversports.com in a minute. As soon as I'm done with this, I'll be publishing it. But so go over there to check out the pictures. There's just a picture of this giant Serbian man playing 3v3 on like a middle school court in Serbia. It's hilarious. I almost swore there because it's so funny.
Like the rim is crooked.
It's the net's like chain link.
Yeah, it is one of these runs where you can tell everybody else is trying their hardest. And it really is seriously a pickup game in Serbia on like a middle school court. And it's just like the pictures of Jokic coming out this summer, like him just, squatting down, sitting, and there's a guy, old guy, like smoking a cigarette in the back of a horse barn someplace. And this old guy just casually smoking a cigarette. And there's one of the world's greatest athletes, 5 feet from him. And I wonder what race 7, Trotter's going to run, whatever the horses is. The photos of Jokic this summer are, it's crazy.
Him dancing on tables?
Who had the white party with all the celebrities dressed up? Rubin.
Michael Rubin. He used to own He owns Fanatics.
Yeah.
Okay. So he has the white. What celebrity wasn't at that party? I mean, that scene was crazy. And
Grant Williams was there.
Wild.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing. And there's Jokic by a horse barn with an old guy smoking firing up a cigarette. I don't know what to say. It's so bizarre. But I was surprised Jamal was back with the Nuggets on getting a workout in 2 weeks later. I mean, these guys, they just love basketball. I don't know what else to say. They love it. It's part of who they are. And I think the Nuggets are so much closer to repeating or continuing a championship run because of who they actually have. I was surprised by Jeff Green, or nobody should be surprised by Bruce Brown. We're surprised by Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
Is it meaningful enough? I mean, when the Broncos lost Danny Trevathan, nobody on the surface thought it was that big of a deal. They really didn't. And Malik Jackson lost. Danny Trevathan and Malik Jackson. Well, it turned out to be a pretty big deal. Do you guys think that the loss of Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, core guys off the bench, the whole run, is that big of a deal?
So for Bruce Brown, I feel like I'm going to get some hate. I feel like you can replace him. Like, he was great. He had his good moments, but hopefully you can find somebody else who can do that. And I guess same with Jeff Green. Jeff Green had some bad moments. Let's all be honest. Twitter had gone on an escapade and had pretty much banned Jeff Green. So I feel like, yeah, you can find other pieces. Can they step up in a big moment where you have to repeat is kind of the question, because that's another level, right? If you can find somebody who can play that way, great. But to be able to step up and be able to repeat as a championship team, like, you have as an individual have to step up to the next level. And so that's where my question lies. But if you have good leadership like Jamal Murray getting back in the gym and, those guys that are like, hey, this is the level you need to step up to, I think it's possible.
I think they're significantly worse, and their odds took a significant hit going into this next season. I think they've had a bad off season thus far. I still would say them and the Celtics are the two best teams in the NBA going into next season. I do not think on the surface losing Bruce Brown is actually going to hurt that much. I think Christian Brown and Reggie Jackson are going to be fine. I think losing Jeff Green, that's fine. You have Zeke Naji and Vlatko Čančar, who I would rather have been playing in the playoffs. But the fact that they're a lot younger on their bench, the fact that they don't have as much depth, like if Christian Brown, if Zeke Naji and Vlatko Čančar go down, now you're all of a sudden on to Hunter Tyson and Julian Strother instead of Jeff Green and Bruce Brown. You've just lost a significant amount of playing depth. So I do not like what the Nuggets have done this offseason. They were pretty boxed in terms of what they could have done. So you have to give them kind of the benefit of the doubt. The fact of the matter is they have the best starting five in basketball. That all comes back. They've got some really exciting and interesting young players who they need to step up now. It's not no longer it would be nice if they step up. They need these guys to step up. And that's what's good. What this is going to come down to in the hopes of repeating is, can these young guys step up? And can the Nuggets maybe make a move at the deadline or closer into the middle of the season that kind of bolsters their roster once they kind of figure out what they need? But right now, guys, they're a great team. It's going to be really hard to beat them. There is nobody in the West that I think has had an amazing offseason that's going to get them to that level. Again, they are the favorites to come out of the West. The problem is they have a lot less depth to get through the regular season this time around.
Well, and it's always the problem too, where you win. Well, now you're the number one target because you're going to get the best from every single team every single night. I mean, it was the same thing with the Avalanche, but kind of to your exact point too, Jake, it really is going to kind of rely on the starting five to be able to level up those other guys now, because that's truthfully, they need that depth. And because they're so young, they're going to make mistakes. So they have to be able to carry and hopefully help with those.
Can they get 55 wins in the regular season?
Oh, yeah.
DMac, here's what I'm thinking. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually had a better regular season than last year. They start just kind of really, really hot, and they had a better regular season than last year. But I think the playoffs are going to be much tougher for them.
Okay.
Given the where they are at in the rotation. And I think unlike where they were last year, where it was clear which 7 guys they were going to and maybe an 8th or a 9th in the playoffs every single night, I think Malone's going to be doing the same thing what the Lakers were doing, what the Heat were doing last year, which is they're searching for answers. Who's that seventh guy? Who's that eighth guy on a night-to-night basis? And that's the type of stuff that might cost you a couple playoff games.
Well, but that's the bottom line here, guys. Do they have a team to get 55 wins? If you get 55 wins, you're seed 1, 2, or 3. Guaranteed. You're one of those seeds. And you'll have home court in probably the first 2 rounds because you're probably actually 1 or 2. Maybe you're not there at the championship. I don't know. Who knows? And maybe you don't have the advantage over the Eastern Conference team. But again, if you're in the playoffs, now you just got to replace 2 guys. You got to replace Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. Well, okay, so who are those 2 guys? And we'll have the whole season to try to figure it out. And you're not wrong. I think Chanchar specifically would have been a better person than Jeff Green in many of those games. But there were a couple games that Green was, pretty cool. And Bruce Brown, he did have some off games in the playoffs. That's true. But the good games were really good. But what were the really good elements of Bruce Brown? And it was driving to the hoop and hitting 3-pointers. I'm going to give you something crazy. Strother could possibly be that guy. He possibly could. If that's what you're looking for in the playoffs, somebody who can go to the hoop. He's 6'7". He's so much bigger than Bruce Brown. It's ridiculous. And I think he's a better 3-point shooter, or at least he seems to be. Christian Brown is a crazy wild card. Because at some point he's got to be able to make a jump shot. And he's just not there right now. You want to hear something crazy? If he doesn't get his act together a little bit in terms of jump shots, he may not be in the playoff rotation at all, depending on what they've got going on with Reggie Jackson and what else they're doing. So this is a fascinating year for Christian Brown. And there were a lot of rumors about him playing summer league basketball. And I think he should have done it. In fact, I guess it would have been a little embarrassing considering he was a core rotational guy through the NBA Finals. But I wish he would go play summer ball and hunt for his shot. And I don't care if he missed every single shot. I think he should have gone for it. So,
DMac, I want to give you something that just was relayed by Singer. Brown was going to play in the summer league. It came from Nuggets brass of why he's not playing in summer league. So that was not a Christian decision.
Well, then why?
I'm sure because he just played 90 games this year and they want him to get his body to relax. I'm sure that's the reason why. He also, by the way, he shot 35% from 3 in the regular season. It went down to 20% in the playoffs. So it's not like this guy can't hit a jumper. He just had a cold shooting streak in the playoffs. So we'll see where he's at. And the fact that they added Strother, who's going to play next to Brown a lot, he'll open up the floor, hit a lot of threes. So I like that. I'll give you something else. Michael Porter Jr. is in Denver right now. He has been on Peyton Watson's Instagram. I have a feeling that even though he hasn't been captured at the Nuggets facility like Jamal Murray, I think Michael Porter Jr. has also been in the Nuggets lab quite a bit here the last few weeks.
But Michael Porter Jr. may be at a local high school. He might be putting up shots at Thomas Jefferson. He may be with my pals at Smoky Hill. His brother was. He was hooping with my guy Anthony Harden, the head coach at Smoky Hill, just in pickup games. Michael Porter Jr. loves basketball. It's ridiculous. If you have a solid pickup game and you can get a hold of Michael Porter Jr., he may show up. The guy just loves to hoop. So there's nothing that would surprise me about that whatsoever. We saw Jamal Murray in the mix. Listen, these guys they just love it, man. They just love playing. They love hooping. Michael Porter Jr. is going to have a sensational year this year. He already is a world champion. He is on his way to his Hall of Fame career because it's going to play out over another 12 to 15 years. And get ready for it, everybody. And listen, I will be at his induction in Springfield, Massachusetts, in 5 years after he's done playing for another 5 years, 28, 25, 3, in 2043-ish. I'm there for Michael Porter Jr. in Springfield.
Well, on that note, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Will Michael Porter Jr., what will his career look like? JQ, shout out to you. Thank you so much. DMac? I know.
So good to have you back, Rachel. They tried to carry on without you. And listen, it was a valiant effort, but a poor imitation.
Oh, no. I haven't heard what happened. Okay.
I was the main replacement. What do you mean?
I mean exactly what I said.
Well, I'm happy to be back. I'm lucky to have so many good coworkers, and to everybody in the comments too. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Huge shout out to Will Peterson for hanging out with us too, Matt on the back end, and to everybody else. We'll see you for a Friday edition tomorrow. Bring us your Ask Us Anything questions, and we'll see you then. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful Thursday.